This video is sponsored by PotownStore.com, the best place to get yourself some TCGO code cards. Looking for that last card to complete your online deck or just to find the latest booster packs in town, they literally have everything, and all these codes will be compatible with the upcoming TCG Live client. So be sure to stock up on some codes right now and use the coupon code ZapDogsTCG for 5% of your next order. Also, this video is sponsored by CardMarket.com. This is a European platform where you're able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. You can get the latest product, you can get some cool promo cards, like for instance this Luxray on the screen right now. Be sure to check out the affiliate link down below, and you're going to be helping out the channel tremendously. Last but certainly not least, this video is also sponsored by YourPlaymat.com, the best website to create your own unique custom playmat. And of course, you can get 10% off your order by clicking the link down below. And you can, of course, create your own playmat by just starting here, and they ship worldwide. So what are you waiting for? So be sure to check it out. Thanks for sticking around with the commercials. Let's get this show on the road. Peace. Sup YouTube, it's ZapDogsTCG here, and welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. On my channel, you get the latest Pokemon TCG information in town, so be sure you are subscribed so you don't ever miss a single upload. I post daily, and today we're going to be checking out a tier list prediction. This is my personal opinion. There's just a little disclaimer out there. If your opinion is different, be sure to let me know why you think a specific deck should be higher or lower up in this tier ranking. Be sure to put it in the comment section below. Let's just get a discussion started, because this is just speculation, just based on personal experience. And of course, we've been, in the post-rotation format for quite a little bit, ever since Evolving Skies. A lot of archetypes have been established. We're going to be checking out all these old school archetypes that we already got familiar with, stuff like Victini VMAX, stuff like Leafeon, Jolteon, Ice Rider, Shadowrider, etc. These are all already decks we got familiar with. We're going to be ranking them and how I think that it will be impacted with Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike comes out on the 12th of November, and we talked about a lot of deck profiles already. We did a top 20 best cards of the set already as well, so be sure to check out those videos if you are, of course, interested in more Fusion Strike content. And yeah, if you like what you see, be sure to rock the hell out of the like button. It helps out so much. You have no idea. The YouTube algorithm is crazy these days, and that's the best way to support the channel, and it's free to do so. So without further ado, let's just get this adventure started. As you can see, there's a whole heap of decks out there, and I actually want to put a lot of things in here that was successful during the Evolving Skies period. Even stuff like the Dragapult VMAX. Some decks actually were better than others, and I'm actually just gonna get something out of the way first, and that's going to be the new archetype, Mew VMAX. That's what you're here for, right? Like prediction, I think it's going to be a tier 1 deck. We have power tablets boosting the damage output. We have free retreat. We have cross switchers to use some sort of a Guzma effect. We have Genesect as a backbone to draw a bazillion amount of cards. We can play it with the Toxtricity to lower the opponent's VMAX Pokemon's HP. We can run it with Old Cemetery to put some additional damage on top of that. There's so many things that could work out with Mew VMAX. Mew VMAX is also able to copy attacks from your Fusion Strike Pokemon on the bench. Stuff like Latias to be immune from VMAXs. You can also copy the Meloetta if you want to just go for a power spike boost for 280. It is all possible with Mew VMAX, and that's why I think it's going to be a tier 1 deck. Not only is it going to be a very fast deck, you have the power tablets to boost your damage output, and the typing also punishes stuff like the Urshifus, which are already very popular in the game. So I think it's a power tier 1 archetype just because of the fact that Genesect is so broken. And there's also a Genesect deck itself. I think it's either going to be tier 1 or tier 1.5. I think the version with Mew is a little bit more versatile, so that's I'm putting that one above the Genesect version. But the Genesect version is very cool because you can just go for 4 Genesects, some Metal Saucers, some Alessa Sparkle to accelerate Fusion Strike energy. If you don't know what all of these new cards do, be sure to check out my top 20 best cards video of Fusion Strike. It will become clear in only 20 minutes. You're gonna be yeah, with all the new cards, you're gonna know what they all do. So Genesect V, very easy to set up, and with the Fusion System ability, this actually stacks up, and you can get an army of Genesects out. You can rely on Ryan, Alessa Sparkle, you can rely on Metal Saucer. So many acceleration possible for Genesect. The only problem I see with Genesect is that it only has 190 HP. You could be thinking, oh, I'm going to be running a Cape of Toughness, turning it into a 250 HP Pokemon. Yeah, you could be doing that. I think it's only 240 HP Pokemon, so it's still not quite up there with other V Pokemon, basic V Pokemon. But the problem with Genesect lies is that people could be playing Tool Scrapper and just knock you out because you have a low amount of hit points. They can also shut you down instantly with stuff like Pad to the Peak. So I'm a little bit worried, but Genesect seems very strong as a 2-price attacker. Being able to one-hit KO VMAXs is actually plausible, with of course the Toxtricity lowering the HP on VMAXs and the Power Tablets. And also a thing you could use in the Genesect build is the Smeargle. I didn't talk about Smeargle, but that can get back your Power Tablets. And it's a 1-price Pokemon. You can just shove it in the active position, get your Power Tablets back, and use some multiple Power Spike turns with, of course, its attack, slapping 210 damage. So I'm a fan of Genesect, so I'm putting it at 1.5. Before we move any further, are there any other decks? I think a solid tier 2 deck is Bolton VMAX. The thing that Bolton VMAX is lacking is like, yeah, it's hits weakness for lightning. Suicune, you can hit that for weakness. On the other hand, it actually takes a while for Max, actually the Bolt Storm to actually one-hit KO. It only happens on about like turn 4 or something if you can get enough energies into play in the first place. You can play with EXP shares, you can play with Flaffy. There's a lot of energy acceleration, even Turbo Patch if you want to go hit completely crazy. Probably wouldn't do that because you have Flaffy, but yeah, there's Stormy Mountain, which allows you to get your little Bolton V out of the list, as well as your Mareeps. You can actually rely on Electrify, the Bolton V from Rebel Clash. So many things going for Bolton V. The problem is that it cannot easily one-hit KO. And that's where it actually stops. So a solid tier 2 deck also has some consistency issues. As soon as you lose your Flaffies, it's going to be a little bit hard to just get those crazy power turns where you can get lots of energies into play. Ideally, you just want to have Attach of the turn, use your Electrify from the Bolton V, then on the following turn, evolve some of your Mareeps, go to Flaffy, accelerate some more, and just go for crazy damage output. The cool thing is that it also slaps 230 damage like a Brave Blade, for instance, for only 3 energies, and you have Speed Lightning energy on top of that. Tier 3 is going to be Deoxys. I'm a huge fan of Deoxys, by the way, because it has all the battle styles in once. You could be having a Fusion Strike energy on here, on top of Single Strike energy, as well as Rapid Strike energy. There's all the energies you can use, all the additional buffs you can use with Deoxys. The problem is that why would you use Deoxys when you can use Mew? You probably also are going to be running some sort of a Genesect engine, or maybe you just play a 1-price Single Strike deck with some Houndooms to accelerate energies. Either way, you probably will need to manually attach the Fusion energy, and with so many different energies, it seems a little bit clunky. When Deoxys is your main attacker, it is also going to be going down rather quickly. I probably would be playing a Single Strike box, like a Single Strike Urshifu Umbreon over the Deoxys, because it does need 3 energies and you need to get a lot of Houndooms into play to attack in the first place. It is capable of slapping 160 if you have a Fusion energy attached. You could be spiking it up with Power Tablets as well as the Single Strike energy. So it seems a little bit clunky in my opinion, so I'm only putting it in tier 3, but however, when the future actually gives it more capability cards, it might actually become better. But for now, tier 3 is not too bad, I guess. It is out there, and also tier 3, probably like even worse than tier 3 is going to be the Let's Roll attack of the Blizzy. There's some sort of mechanic going around for every one of your bench Pokemon with the same attack, you slap more damage and stuff, and also you're immune from some Pokemon here, but yeah, I probably wouldn't be playing this kind of weird archetype. We will be making a video about it though, so for now you don't need to know a lot about this because I won't see too much play. Moving forward, Crabominable Antalyon, putting it for now on the tier 2 side, because either you need to get out of Frostmoth to get back-to-back Crabominables, and it only works in the late game. That's my biggest concern here with Crabominable V. It only works when you can get a lot of damage counters across the opponent's field. You slap, I think it was like 90 for every damage counter or something like that. It was crazy damage output. The problem is, the only way you can get damage output consistently is either running for Galarian Zigzagoon and some Scoop Up Nets, or you just wait until you finally have an army of Antalyons to just get it out. On top of that, you will also need a Frostmoth, because Crabominable needs 3 energies and it slaps more damage for every damage counter on the opponent's active. That's why we're putting it in tier 2 for now. So lots of new decks. That's what we're starting off first. That's what you want to see. We're going to be checking out the other decks, the decks that we already got familiar with later down the line. Tier 3 is also Chandelure VMAX. It is a very capable ability by shutting down the opponent's tool cards. They cannot slap them from the hand anymore, so they're stuck in the hand. And you also slap 70 damage for every trainer card you find in the opponent's hand. Unfortunately, we do not have stuff like Reset Stamp for the early game to put the opponent to a 6-card hand and just hope you can go crazy. You have, of course, the Vivid Voltage Alcremie, which allows every player to draw a card if you evolve into it. That could be a way you could be playing Chandelure, but giving the opponent hand advantage is also not a great thing. You're also susceptible from stuff like Crushing Hammer. I don't know how to feel about Chandler. The damage output is very similar to Gengar Mimikyu, but it's even better because it's a 70 multiplier. So for every trainer card, that includes stadium cards, item cards, etc. So very strong, but for now, we don't have a way. You could also have some early game Vikavolt item lock and then go crazy. We also don't have Amistar, the one from Team Up, to shut down the opponent from playing item cards. So it still needs a little bit more to become better. That's why what I'm saying here. Greedent VMAX. It's a meme deck. Could be played around with stuff like the Suicune here to become a little bit better. For now, I think it's a meme deck. I've tested it out. It works very great against Subtle engines. That's very, very crazy. But if Fusion Strike decks like Genesect and Mew VMAX become very, very popular, I don't see Greedent doing too much here, because only slapping 30 damage, that's actually not going to win you a lot of games. And for now, that's making sure that Greedent VMAX belongs in tier 3. What else is new in today's format is the Gengar VMAX and Umbreon. Is it better than the single strike box we have right now? I don't know, but Darkness type seems good. 1.5 for me. Gengar VMAX has, of course, ways to dish out more damage for every V Pokemon, and as we've seen with Genesect engines, they run a bazillion amount of Genesects on their bench, and for every V Pokemon, you slap 60 damage with your Panic Fear with the Gengar VMAX. For only 2 energies, you no longer have to get an army of Houndoom out. You can just have 1 out, and you can slap residual damage for every V Pokemon they have. So 60 for everyone is great. And you can finish it off with the Max Swallow, which actually slaps 250 on top of single strike energies, is actually very good. The typing is very good. Gengar VMAX is weak to fighting. Umbreon VMAX is weak to grass, so they have different weaknesses, which is something I really, really like. Okay. Dragapult, the one price deck, is also very bad. Putting it over here, I think Deoxys is a little bit better than all these. So Deoxys better than Greedent, better than Chandler, and yeah, Dragapult is one of those decks that is very interesting. It slaps 30 damage for every Fusion Strike Pokemon you have in play, capping at 180 with Power Tablets. You can spike to bigger turns, you have free retreat, and you can attack for 1 energy. You might think stage 2s, that's what it needs to be compatible, to actually be viable, but no. If only we had a Drag Cloak which actually had the ability like Shady Dealings, then maybe Dragapult would have been very playable. But for now, I don't see this. Why should we be playing this over the better archetypes out there? Alright, what else? Any other new decks that we want to be talking about? Okay, Antalyon. Okay, the new Antalyon. I don't think if I've made an Antalyon with the Rapid Strike with the Cheryl here. I should check here. If not, be sure to remember that there's also an Antalyon deck that relies on Cheryl. I don't think I have... Oh yeah, it's here. I actually overlooked it a little bit. Yeah, this is actually very strong. I tested this before, and the Cheryl combination seems broken. The amount of HP, you have 320 HP on Antalyon VMAX. The only weakness you're scared is Lightning, and Jolteon only slaps max 200, which means they don't one-hit KO you, which is super awesome, and that means the quick shooting, it doesn't have that quick shooting, it has the double shooting ability, allowing you to slap, discard a water energy and slap 20 damage, actually slap 2 damage counters on 2 of the opponent's bench Pokemon. On top of that, you can attach, slap 140 damage, return the energy to the hand, and spam Cheryl. And that's why I think it's very powerful, because if a deck doesn't one-hit KO you, you're actually going to be staying alive turn after turn. You might even think about adding in a big charm for those crazy turns where the opponent does have, for instance, power tablets. If they have like 4 of them, they can slap an additional 120, which means they can slap additional 330, which means with a big charm you could survive. So think about maybe adding in 1 big charm for that matchup. I don't think sometimes power tablets might be priced, and they probably play them out to just draw cards with the fusion system of Genesect, but I think Antalyon VMAX is very strong because it is super compatible with Cheryl. Either you play it with some Chinchinos, or you with the quick shooting Antalyon to have more snipes on top of that, and with Palpad and Cheryl, this is going to be a very, very nasty deck if you don't one-hit KO the Antalyon VMAX. Okay, I think we had most, or if not all of the decks from Fusion Strike, so very interesting to see that these are the decks we're getting. The only tier 1 deck is the Mew VMAX, of course, the poster boy from the Fusion Strike set. Other than that, a lot of rogue decks for like Blizzy, Dragapult, Deoxys. Tier 2, Bolton VMAX and the Crabominal deck. And then there's, of course, tier 1.5, the Genesect, the pure Genesect build, the Antalyon VMAX and Gengar VMAX. Okay. Moving forward, these can actually be lowered down if the format develops itself a little bit. A lot of these decks might be lowered down in today's tier list. But for now, let's just go with it. Let's see here. Shadowrider is not going to be that powerful. Is it going to be tier 3? I haven't seen too much success with the Shadowriders as of late. Genesect already slaps 210, which is enough to knock out the Shadowrider Calyrex Vs. If you are able to go first, you can actually punish and knock them out before they evolve. You can also one-hit KO with Alcremie VMAX, but of course the problem is that Alcremie is weak to metal, and Genesect is a metal type, and I expect Genesect to just be very good. So for now, I don't know how to feel about putting Shadowrider at tier 3, but the problem I see is that Darkness types are getting better with Gengar. We have Umbreon, we have more Darkness decks out there, for instance the Galarian Moltres and stuff, so I think based on tournament success, we have to put it in tier 3. Although putting tier 3 and putting Bolton on tier 2 doesn't seem fair though. Let's just put it in the low end of tier 2 for now. Okay. Control, putting it at tier 3. The reason for that is that it's not too popular. I think only players like Sander Wojcik and Alessandro Cremascoli are like very famous control players, might actually pilot this to success, but because it's very hard to play with and because there are one-shot potential things coming with stuff like Gengar VMAX on top of Mew VMAX, I don't think this Corviknight control deck could actually survive too much here. Moving forward, let's talk about Rayquaza's tier 3. Unfortunately, Rayquaza has so many consistency issues. I had a lot of games with Rayquaza where I'm just saying like, oh, I don't have an energy of the turn, or oh, I'm whiffing out on one Mareep so I can attack the following turn. It all crumbles very easily. On top of that, there's a lot of decks playing Path to the Peak. Think about Jolteon, think about Dragapult. So think about Ice Rider as well, so Rayquaza is just not cutting it these days, unfortunately. Also tier 3 right now is the Decidueye, and the reason why the Decidueye is actually tier 3 is because Mew has an attack which goes through all the effects. Single Strike Urshifu VMAX, where's our fella over here? Single Strike Urshifu VMAX on top of Umbreon. I don't know which one is better. I think they're both very great. So yeah, the problem is that Urshifu, the single strike one, goes through the ability of the Decidueye. Mew goes through the ability of the Decidueye. Antalyon can snipe its way around the Decidueye. So too many bad things going around for the Decidueye, unfortunately. So walling off won't be too much of an problem. Dragapult, do we put it in tier 1? Or tier 1.5. I think Dragapult is very strong right now, just because of Path to the Peak Marnie plays. The cool thing about playing Dragapult right now is not only are you shutting down the Genesects, you're also shutting down the double shooting ability, you're shutting down the Dark Signal ability of the Umbreon, you have Crushing Hammers, you have Fan of Waves to slow decks like these down. I know Umbreon just eats you up, but you just have to take that loss. Other than that, the deck is very strong, so I am comfortable putting this in tier 1. Dragapult is a good deck. Maybe they are gonna say like, we're gonna be countering Mew VMAX with our Darkness decks, and then this actually falls down the wayside. But as it is, from pure speculation and tournament results, Dragapult VMAX is a very strong deck. Moving forward is Suicune, Ludicolo, or Ice Rider. I think Ice Riders belong on tier 1, Ludicolo on tier 1.5. I'm comfortable doing like this. Doing it like this is okay. Quick shooting, maybe. This seems okay to me. Maybe like this, right? So we have Ice Rider. If you're not familiar with Ice Rider, you've been living under a rock, because it slaps max lands 250. It has the Suicune backbone to it, with the fleet-footed ability, allows you to draw a card if it's in the active slot. You can slap reasonable damage with the attack. The Suicune V is able to slap 220 as a max damage output. Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX is great. It also runs Path to the Peak, by the way, which can shut down Mew, not Mew, but the Genesect. Shutting down that entire engine is very great. You have to be afraid of the metal weakness, but you have Suicune to comprehend. If they just start attacking with an army of Genesects, you have your Suicune by your side, so that's why I'm putting it at tier 1. I think it's a great deck. Very great deck. Okay, moving forward, tier 2 deck is a Zeraora Ryan deck. This actually came out of nowhere because of a famous Brazilian player, Vinci. Actually, Zeraora is a great way to just go for Crossfist, slapping 100 to the active, 160 to the bench. First you use Sobble with Keep Calling, and then you can go crazy with Zeraora and looping them back to back. You also have access to Rapid Strike Urshifu, and it has been seeing some minor success, so we're putting it here in tier 2. Eternatus, our good friend Eternatus, what do we say? Will it get better, or will people just hang on to their Umbreons for a Darkness type? Who knows? Eternatus has not seen a lot of play. It has seen not a lot of play because of Path to the Peak. Crobat's not being able to get play. But with the weakness, you can punish Dragapult, you can punish Mew. So maybe we're just putting it here on tier 2 for now. That sounds okay to me. Moving forward, okay, Dracozolt, like that trapping and healing infinitely probably won't be too impactful with the fact that the Mew VMAX can just go straight through it. with none other than the power tablets and trying to one-hit KO. You can also make yourself immune from damage with the Latias, and then the Dragapult won't be doing too much, although it does have that spark trap, so that means if you slap into it you get 12 damage counters. Interesting. We'll see how this develops, but this is a rogue deck for sure. Okay, moving forward, Zacian. Zacian has always been strong in the game. Will it be reliable to just still play Zacian Zamazenta? Zamazenta walls off Mew VMAX. Zacian knocks out Genesect, so why not, right? Zacian's still good. 1.5 for me. 1.5 for me. Regidrago unfortunately is cutting short. I think it's even worse than Deoxys, because Deoxys can have bigger damage output with, of course, the capabilities of single strike energy and the power tablets. So Deoxys is better than Regidrago. If you want to play one price deck, the best one price deck I can come up with is Malamar on the low end of tier 2. Malamar is great with Rapid Strike Tentacle, slapping 40 damage for every Rapid Strike card you have in your hand and you're willing to shuffle back in the hand in the deck. And I think it's a very strong archetype. The problem is the sniping capabilities. Jolteon is also very strong still and will hit weakness against Antalyon. Not going to be too impactful with the Cheryls, but who knows? Jolteon is also still part of our higher end decks. These decks are very capable of winning tournaments, that's for sure. I'm also doubting to put the single strike on tier 1, by the way. Why do I not put the single strikes on tier 1? I don't know. I don't know how to feel about them. I think they are very great though. We can just shape them up again like this. Sure. The typings are very great, by the way. Just hitting weakness against Mew VMAX and stuff. I like that. What else? The Roland VMAX tier 3 deck. With the Bronze Dunk, you can move around all of your Aurora energies, and you are immune from damage with special energies, which of course include Single Strike Energy, Rapid Strike Energy, Horror Psychic Energy, Fusion Energy, etc. Could be powerful, but on the other hand, people play Path to the Peak to go through your abilities, so yeah, a little bit mediocre for sure. Vikavolt, also a solid tier 3 deck. I like Vikavolt with the trapping with Galar Mines. Galar Mine is very great. Cramorant, another one of those tier 3 decks. Lots of tier 3 decks, by the way, that actually saw a minor amount of success but won't breach through like the high end of the best decks in the format. Colossal Vmax, also tier 3, but I love Colossal Vmax. We made, who has seen that video where we flipped 6 heads with the Icicle Pop item card? Healing 20, healing 20, that was ridiculous. Sylveon Vmax. Will that become better? It is weak to metal though. Being weak to metal with Zacian around, with Genesect around. I don't know. It does have Blaziken. Blaziken is great to knock out Genesect. Blaziken is great in general, yeah. Lots of tier 1.5 archetypes, so it seems. Maybe we should lower some of them. We're gonna be seeing that later. Solid tier 2 deck is the Sableye, Galarian Weezing, shutting down the abilities. The problem is with Fusion Energy, the Galarian Weezing does no longer shuts down abilities. Because of the fact if you have one Fusion Energy attached to your Genesect, you're going to be able to use that ability of the Fusion system because you neglect the abilities done to you. So, interesting, right? Rapid Strike Urshifu, our friend. I think I'm still putting this like this, right? Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is a very strong deck. Very, very strong deck. And I know you get weakness by Mew, another psychic type in the format. We have Sylveon, we have Dragapult, we have Mew. But with, of course, Galarian Moltres, this is my personal build. Read all about it on the Potown Store blog. And this is my personal build right now. And I think it's a very strong way to just comprehend the entire meta. Just you hit the Dark Weak stuff, you hit the Fighting Weak stuff, you hit Jolteon, you hit Eternus. There's a lot of things to love about Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. Sandaconda. Tier 3. It's a very fun deck to spread around a lot of damage counters. Problem is, a lot of people are running scoop up nets. A lot of people are able to one-hit KO the Sandaconda VMAX nowadays. And yeah, I know it spams Cheryl, but there's a better Cheryl spam deck out there in the form of Antalyon VMAX. If you want to spread damage, play Antalyon VMAX. Talking about Antalyon VMAX, there's also an Antalyon VMAX deck that relies on the rough helmets as well as stuff like Crushing Hammers. I don't know how impactful that will be because you have energy acceleration with the Alessa Sparkle. With Fusion Strike deck, you have energy acceleration with Houndoom. You can go for Ryan with energy acceleration. There's Dire Flame Wings Moltres and E-Switch. I don't think it's that good. Vaporeon VMAX, I know Celio's Network, aka Luke Morsa, actually did very well with the Vaporeon list. Also relying on Cheryl, it seems. Same story here, probably would be playing Antalyon, but you could be playing both. You could be playing a 1-1 line of Vaporeon VMAX into your Antalyon VMAX line. That is possible for now. There's only one minor success with the Vaporeon VMAX. Solid tier 2 deck is Victini. We're going to be putting these a little bit lower, like Boltons over here. Zero Aura a little bit lower. Victini definitely higher, definitely this higher. And over here, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. Etern is a little bit better, I think, right now. Yeah, I'm fine with this output. So we have Victini VMAX. If you're up against VMAX Pokemon, which is actually almost the entire meta, you one-hit KO all of them. The good thing about Victini, you're now having Genesect as extra targets. A lot of Fusion Strike decks will slap their bench full of Genesects, and with a high amount of Bulbasaurs and even Pokemon Catcher, as we've seen in some Victini VMAX lists, you're going to be able to punish Genesects. You can one-hit KO them. Well, just by weakness alone, you can KO them. So even with some, like, yeah, there's just so many great things about Victini. You one-hit KO Dragapult V before it evolves. You knock out Mew V before it evolves. You're having some problems with the water stuff, so there's still Suicune around. And there's also Leafeon. I don't know where to put Leafeon, by the way. Leafeon is a little bit worse because Mew VMAX has a retreat cost, a free retreat cost. So in that sense, let's put it over here. Okay, this is probably the tier list I'm very comfortable with for now. It could change around. Let's see here. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic blast. Of course, you can also make your own tier list by clicking the link down below. I want to see what you rank higher and lower. From Pierce's perspective, will Mew VMAX be the best deck in the format? I've played around with it, and you can play a different kind of builds. You can play a lot of item cards, you can play Pokemon Catcher, you can play insta-playable cards like Pokegear, because Genesect is just so good. You can draw your entire deck, you can play a lot of stadium cards. I think Mew VMAX is very great. The problem is that it is weak to darkness, and that means single strike will also still be great. You can also play like a lot of crushing hammers into your Mew VMAX list. I wonder how the meta will develop. I'm comfortable putting one of these fellas. Gengar VMAX is a little bit too new, but the single strike deck has proven itself worthy for sure. For sure, okay. And also has a wall breaker effect, so this seems okay, right? The tier 1 decks you probably want to be investing in because they're going to be great. Definitely if you think about going to real life tournaments very shortly, these are decks you definitely need to practice against. Mew VMAX, Dragapult VMAX with Path to the Peak, single strike box, whether it's with Gengar. Gengar is a little bit on the lower end because of the fact that hitting fighting weakness and having a wall breaker effect is actually very good, and single strike is easier to one-hit KO Pokemon than with the Gengar. Gengar does need a lower amount of energies. Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX with Suicune is also still strong, as well as Rapid Strike Urshifu V on top with Galarian Moltres. These are actually very strong decks that have seen a lot of tournament success as of late. Then tier 1.5, these are actually great decks, but suffer some kind of, either they suffer from the weakness or they suffer that they're not powerful enough. And the reason why Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is on the 1.5 is that it is weak to Psychic, and there's a lot of Psychic decks in the tier 1 archetype slot. If you're not playing Galarian Moltres, your Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX might suffer some problems because there's a lot of Psychic decks out there, let's just be honest. Mew VMAX, Dragapult VMAX, Shadowrider Calyrex VMAX, one prize Malamar deck. There's so many Psychic decks out there that the Psychic weakness is a little bit hurting the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. Then there's Suicune Ludicolo, which actually seems very strong. If I'm looking at the top decks, you can actually beat them all with the Suicune Ludicolo as well. Should we put that in tier 1? Who knows? But the problem is that stuff like Path to the Peak can shut you down on top of Marnie. And there's ways that, yeah, I think Suicune is just a strong card all around. Definitely hang on to some Suicune. Putting it on the higher end here, like this. This seems okay. What can we say about the Genesect? This still needs to prove itself, but looks very strong on paper. Definitely with the Toxtricity lowering the amount of the VMAXs. We have Blaziken, which seems strong to knock out Genesect, but also Sylveon still knocking out Urshifu, still knocking out Single Strike Urshifu, having a weakness to Metal. Might be problematic with Genesect, but you covered that with Blaziken, so I think it's a strong deck all around. Maybe putting it a little bit higher. We have Zacian and Zamazenta, always did well in today's format and still will continue to do strong. Jolteon, Path to the Peak. The reason why it's a little bit lower is that there's some healing decks coming with stuff like Antalyon. I know you hit it for weakness, but they can heal off. Will it be too impactful? Who knows? We'll have to figure it out. And stuff like the Jolteon is also weak to the Urshifu, so the meta still needs to shape up, but these are all, if you're playing a deck in tier 1 or tier 1.5, you're gonna have an awesome time in the tournament, mark my words. The other decks, and why is Crabominal even stronger than this? I'm just putting it over here. So Tier 2 decks are decks that actually might be able to win tournaments, but depends on which matchups you're up against. They do have some weaknesses either with consistency or with matchups in general. That there's a lot of unfavorable matchups, that's why they're being capped down in Tier 2. And then there's Tier 3 decks. Don't play these decks, guys. These are just very crazy meme deck videos where you can just, sometimes you see them popping up at tournaments, but you don't often see them winning. Like, I've never seen like decks like this. Maybe the Vikafo from a famous Japanese player actually did some pretty well. The Decidueye can come out on top, but with Mew VMAX and Single Strike just being put down, as well as a Dragapult, don't play the Decidueye. It's not the time. And Rayquaza and Corviknight, maybe Control will actually get a new archetype in the form of, yeah, you can play those Zoroarks, I think it was from Chilling Reign or Evolving Sky. Yeah, Evolving Sky, Zoroarks on top of playing, yeah, some of these control decks with Azumarill, which is able to get back cards, supporter cards from the discard pile. So interesting stuff for sure. Fusion Strike, let me know in the comment section how you feel about Fusion Strike. Are you excited? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to let me know by rocking the hell out of this like button. It helps out so much. If you come all the way through here, it's the nicest thing you could do for me. I appreciate it quite a bit. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're going to be testing out all these new decks. And yeah, I'll see you guys very shortly with more Pokemon TCG epicness coming near you very shortly. Fusion Strike will be awesome. Be sure to check out our sponsors, BotownStore.com, the best place for TCGO code cards. They will be compatible with TCG Live, so stock up on some codes right now to, of course, get 5% off your order. Stock up on unopened products so you can transfer them to Crystals, the new endgame currency of TCG Live. I recommend 125 unopened products. You can get Steam Siege or the lowest the cheapest booster packs online on Potown Store. Get those, get yourself ready for TCG Live. And if you're looking for some promo codes, they have promo codes of Eternus, they have promo codes of Jolteon, they have promo codes of Zacian. Lots of promo codes around, so be sure to use that coupon code. Also, go check out cardsmarket.com. This is a European platform where you're able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. I personally use it every single day, so you guys should do that as well. It's very nice to just get the cards you want. And I'm also going to be giving away a €5 coupon code for Card Market, as I do in every video. So if you're yeah, one of the lucky persons, actually one of the lucky people that actually already got a code, be sure to let me know down below where you're going to be purchasing with it. And this is for one lucky person only and for newly registrations. So if you're registered, be sure to use the referral name ZabluesTCG. You're helping out the channel so much. Last but not least, yourplaymat.com. You can create your own playmat today. And yeah, if you do that, you can click the link down below and get 10% of your order. They ship worldwide, so you can create your own fantastic playmat for the new season. How fantastic is that? Also, let me know in the comment section what you think will be the best deck with Fusion Strike legal. I'm very curious to hear your opinions. Did I rate Mew VMAX a little bit too high? Is Single Strike Box better, or is Suicune build better? I'm very curious to hear your opinions down below. Anyhow, have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you guys tomorrow with more Pokemon TCG epicness. Peace.